This is KudzuCreative with another quick video on event branding and integrated event marketing. In this case, we'll be talking about hosting versus attending an event, but many of the principles that drive brand recognition and participant behavior are identical in both use cases, so there's actually quite a lot of overlap in terms of strategy and execution. This example comes from an annual developer event held by the Atlanta Java user group, originally called Atlanta Java DevCon. We proposed the name DevNexus to indicate the goal of bringing professional developers together to a central location from which, in this case, all industry knowledge would be disseminated by global industry thought leaders and discussed by all. Turns out DevNexus is also a catchier, or at least simpler, name to bandy about, and one for which they were able to secure the .com, a critical component of any branding strategy. So from its original beginnings of about 150 attendees over a single-day period, new branding, including naming, as well as, of course, the most critical element, a rich array of media and relevant content, has led the way to the event's evolution to a two-day event of more than 1,000 attendees, growing every year, annually sold out weeks before the event opens, that consistently garners excellent ratings from attendees, speakers, and sponsors alike. So in this video, we'll just quickly walk you through a few of the integrated branding elements executed for this now globally recognized event. So using a simple modern style that merges a sophisticated black background with bold contrasting colors, we developed both a logo in almost a techie-looking font with bold vector elements that were simply understood and visually engaging. Here you see just a simple example of a save-the-date card for the event that was distributed months prior to the conference. And then you see that same style carried over into specific event materials outlining, respectively, speaker bios and session abstracts for both days. Each printed piece was made up of a branded cover with simple bold color vector elements and 3 pages of copy on the specifics. And here you see the look carried over into some of the large format signage for registration, in this case for vertical banner stands so that the registrants can see the information they need over the heads of other attendees. And here you see a shot straight from the event itself. Then we move on to another critical printed piece, the agenda for day 1, segmented by time slot and color-coded by track and room designation, along with a designation for the session's level of technical difficulty. These were printed on unusual size for greater visual interest, in this case a 6-inch by 11-inch heavy coated stock that made the colors really pop without excessive fingerprinting you see on many black print jobs. As an aside, these and all other small and actually also large format pieces were printed by an outstanding Atlanta printer called Presentech. Couldn't recommend them more highly should you ever need this kind of product. You have the same branding and organization, of course, for day 2's agenda, and a consistent size for a multi-purpose card that serves both as a sponsor identifier and a room and session track layout diagram. Again, you can see the color coding that matches back to the agendas you saw for days 1 and 2. And in the same bold color palette the entire event is branded in. We see here laminated badges with colors indicating, left to right, top to bottom, speaker, sponsor, platinum sponsor, silver sponsor, the 2 highest categories, attendee, and organizer, each with a QR code linking back to the individual's point of contact details. These are great for networking attendees, of course, but even more so for sponsors who are able to capture every piece of information they're looking for electronically. These badges were beautiful, courtesy of Rockstar Passes, also a great vendor. They're a little larger than the standard name badges, but the size, color, and branding they carried as wearable branding by about 12,000 people actually had a massively high impact at the event venue. And again, a few shots from the event itself. Moving on, what we see here are more vertical banner stands indicating the location of specific sessions by track subject. And again, you see the color coding of the tracks and rooms, which of course map back to the agendas for day 1 and 2, as well as the venue layout diagram. Here, what you see is actually one of several floor decals ordered for the event, pointing the way to the 5 rooms that were less centrally located, again, including the consistent color designations associated with track topic and room. And finally, we'll wrap up with one of the most critical pieces actually to the entire show, the sponsor document outlining the benefits and costs associated with each level of sponsorship. Something critical to note here is that all of this information absolutely must be put together and formalized in a document befitting the level of event you're putting on, so that if you have someone who wants to sponsor your event but needs sign-off from another individual in their organization, a meticulously laid out sponsor document overwhelms with the benefits and values and makes the sponsorship sell much easier, regardless of the level. One interesting thing to note here is that this event distinguishes itself from similar events globally not only by the quality and relevance of its content, but also by its price point for attendees. It's volunteer run and was originally intended to be attainable, or attendable is perhaps a better word, by developers regardless of whether their own organizations were willing to foot the bill. So rather than a multi-$1,000 price tag, DevNexus has maintained its commitment to price point and been able to keep ticket prices at around a couple $100s by ensuring solid sponsorship dollars. And sponsorships for this event literally sold out in 2014. Every square inch of sponsor space was allocated and used, with a number of impressive brands unable to secure sponsorship late in the run-up to the event. Okay, there are a million other branded elements we could show, but this is probably quite enough for you to get the picture. But as always, branding and marketing is only as good as its ability to meet or facilitate the achievement of the goals you have. In this case, you can see for yourself what's been achieved. So, as always, if there's anything we can do to assist you for your next event, from a single component to an end-to-end solution, we'd love to hear from you. These are a few of the great companies we've provided work to. Would love to include you in the mix. Thanks for tuning in.